Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses election rally in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda, gets rousing welcome, promises to build a safe and prosperous Jammu and Kashmir. In a major decision amidst Russia-Ukraine conflict, US-UK put off suggestions to use long-range missiles by Ukraine, keeps it open for talks with allies. Stranded NASA astronauts Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore say they feel grateful for their extended stay in space despite difficulties. Ask for ballots to vote for November 5 presidential elections. And in sports, Indian men's hockey team beat arch rivals Pakistan 2-1 in their final group game of the Asian Champions Trophy 2024 in China. First up, updates from the upcoming assembly polls in the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a rally in the Doda district on Saturday. Referring to the changing situation in the Union territory in the recent years, the Prime Minister said that terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir is nearing its end. He also pointed to the changing scenario of stone pelting incidents, noting that the new Jammu and Kashmir is being built from the stones that were earlier used to attack the police and army.
हालत ये थी कि तब कांग्रेस सरकार के केंद्र सरकार के गृह मंत्री तक लाल चौक जाने से डरते थे। साथियों, जम्मू कश्मीर में आतंकवाद अब अपनी अंतिम सांसें गिन रहा है। पिछले 10 साल में जम्मू कश्मीर में जो बदलाव आया है वो किसी सपने से कम नहीं है। जो पत्थर पहले पुलिस और फौज पर फेंकने के लिए उठते थे, उन पत्थरों से नया जम्मू कश्मीर बन रहा है।
Union territory is being held in 3 phases. 24 assembly constituencies will go to polls in first phase on 18th of September, while voting for the second phase will take place on 25th of September and for the third phase on the 1st of October. All right, and DD India's Tahir Nadeem Khan is joining us from Jammu and Kashmir's Doda to give us more information. Hi Tahir, a while back Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a rally there. He said a lot of things and also promised to build a safe and prosperous Jammu and Kashmir. Well, Tahir, these assembly elections are very significant. We all know they're happening after 10 years and first time after abrogation of Article 370. What all has PM Modi said and how was the response there?
Well, Siddharth, a response of the people, electric people from all walks of life converged at Doda, attend the Prime Minister's rally, irrespective of their political affiliation. They were looking at the Prime Minister's visit as Mr. Narendra Modi is the first Prime Minister who has visited district Doda to attend a political rally after 42 years.
Yeah.
That is a very significant thing. And people were so enthusiastic. As I said, all walks of life and from diverse society, they converged and the stadium was completely jam-packed and people there, the supporters there were shouting slogans of Modi, Modi. And although it's also, you can also say that at least 10,000 people could not make to the stadium because of the rush. The gates were closed. It was overcrowded. They were waiting on the roads and watching television and live broadcast on their cell phones. So this is for the first time that so many people have gathered here, and it is seen as a major development. As after the abrogation of Article 370, the kind of enthusiasm is there in the people. That is tremendous.
Definitely, this is something new that you're trying to, tell us that around 10,000 people were outside the venue; they couldn't reach. Okay, Tahir, how is the excitement, when it comes to youth and first-time voters? Did you have any word with first-time voters there?
Yes, I do talk to so many first-time voters because the Election Commission of India has launched sweep campaign, which is the largest campaign for us in recent times, and they have targeted youth and youth from all the sections of society. They want, because maximum of them have never voted in assembly election because they are going to be held after 10 long years. So youth is very much excited to choose their own vote. Union territory of J&K. They are very much excited. They want to exercise their franchise. They want to vote for development. And the best thing is, every youth we have talked so far, they are voting for development. They say they want to vote for development and to highlight the local issues. And they are insisting the contesting candidates that they should come up with a roadmap for that particular constituency, what they are going to do for that particular constituency. And they are raising the issue of this education, better connectivity, better hospital facilities, better Medicare facilities, better potable water facilities. So this is something new in this area, because irrespective of caste, color and religion, the only issue they are raising are the development issues, and they want that to be redressed after these elections.
Okay, they want development, they want better connectivity, better education. This is what youth of Doda had said to you when you had a word with them, right, Tahir? We've also seen, Tahir, that Election Commission of India is leaving no stone unturned, like you were also mentioning earlier, to ensure maximum participation and voter turnout. From appealing to voters to making necessary arrangements, what all is being done there?
So many activities are being there, diverse kind of activities. They are it's Nahat River, they are doing their river rafting, or their cultural activities are being done. To reach to the high altitude meadows, this is for the first time they have seen those tribal nomads which reside in high altitude meadows with their cattle like Jai, Padri, and there are 30,000 families. They have said that they are first time seeing that someone has reached out to them, telling them and educating them about the importance of participating in the voting process and not to waste their vote. That is a new thing, that they reach out with their horse race and to attract them, to gather them in the high altitude meadows. Election Commission of India has done tremendous job this time by reaching all sections of the society, be it nomads, be it tribal, be it youth, by attracting them to sports activities, cultural activities, mehndi art, and all those kind of diverse kind of activities are being carried out, so that youth could be, more and more youth could come forward, and a different section which have never voted perhaps in the past, they are also going to vote this time because of this Election Commission of India's sweep campaign.
Indeed, Tahir, like I was mentioning, significant assembly elections this time around happening after 10 years and first time after abrogation of Article 370. Thank you so much for your analysis. It was wonderful reporting. The election campaign has also picked up pace for single-phase assembly polls in Haryana. Voting for the 90-member assembly will be held on the 5th of October. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold a public rally in the state today. The Bharatiya Janata Party has announced 40 star campaigners list for the polls, which includes Prime Minister Modi, Party President J.P. Nadda, Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah and Nitin Gadkari, among others. Indian National Congress has also released star campaigners list for the Legislative Assembly election of Haryana, which includes the names of 40 leaders. Congress National President Mallikarjun Kharge, Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi are the main names in the list. The counting of votes for assembly polls in Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir will take place on 8th of October. In the United States, campaigning for the presidential election is reaching its crescendo as both nominees, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, are holding public rallies in key battleground states. Our next report by DD India's Mihir Maikuri covers all the major developments in the election. Have a look.
Election fever is intensifying across the United States with each passing day as presidential hopefuls pull out all the stops to win over voters. On Friday, Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris made a compelling offer in the crucial swing state of Pennsylvania that is likely to resonate with millions of young voters across the country. She proposed that if elected president, she will cut college degree requirements for certain federal jobs.
So as president, I will get rid of the unnecessary degree requirements for federal jobs to increase jobs for folks without a 4-year degree, understanding that requiring a certain degree does not necessarily talk about one's skills.
In another key swing state of Nevada, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump promised the crowd substantial tax reliefs to appeal to working-class voters.
And when I'm back in that beautiful White House, we will pass larger tax cuts for workers. And we have a special tax that here is going to do, I think, quite well. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips.
Despite facing flack for promoting a conspiracy theory targeting Haitian immigrants, Donald Trump intensified his anti-migrant rhetoric on Friday. He announced that if elected president, he would spearhead mass deportations of Haitian immigrants from an Ohio city.
We will do large deportations from Springfield, Ohio. Large deportations. We're going to get these people out. We're bringing them back to Venezuela. You know, he told Biden he's not accepting anybody back. They moved all their criminals. Not all of them, but the rest are moving in now. They emptied their jails in Venezuela, emptied their criminals, emptied the nests. They call them nests of bad people. They're all now in the United States, and they're now taking over cities.
In response to Trump's remarks, President Joe Biden, while addressing a Black Excellence brunch at the White House, urged Trump to stop inflaming tensions against Haitians by spreading a false story about immigrants allegedly eating pet cats and dogs in an Ohio town.
I want to take a moment to say something like so many Americans like Karine, as he pointed out, a proud Haitian American community that's under attack in our country right now. Simply wrong. There's no place in America. This has to stop what he's doing. It has to stop.
All in all, it will be interesting to see how things unfold in the coming months for both the presidential nominees. Mihir Maikuri reporting for DD India.
And stranded NASA astronauts Barry Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams said they feel grateful to spend more time in space despite difficulties. Despite being stranded in space, they did not forget their responsibility to democracy. Answering a question on voting for November 5 presidential election, Wilmore said he has sent down his request for a ballot as it is a very important duty and NASA makes sure that they are able to cast their votes. Sunita agreed and said that she is looking forward to be able to vote from space. It was their first public comment since the Boeing Starliner capsule that took them to the International Space Station in June returned to Earth last week. They were not carried along as the capsule developed many technical snags and posed risky for them to return. Wilmore and Williams will now return to Earth on a SpaceX vehicle in February next year.
I sent down my request for a ballot today, as a matter of fact, and they should get it to us in a couple of weeks. And absolutely, yes, it's a very important role that we all play as citizens is to be included in those elections, and NASA makes it very easy for us to do that. So we're excited about that opportunity.
Marcia, same here. You know, it's a very important duty that we have as citizens, and looking forward to being able to vote from space, which is pretty cool. You asked what we miss, right? Of course, you know, the things that we always miss, our families. I miss my 2 dogs. I miss my friends. But you know what? Like Butch said, there are so many people on Earth that are sending us messages, and it makes you feel just right at home with everybody when we're able to have those conversations with our friends and family at home.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro decorated the US-sanctioned officers as response to measure on Friday. He decorated the 4 officers included in the list with the Order of the Liberators of Venezuela. The Biden administration on Thursday imposed sanctions on 16 allies of Maduro in response to voter fraud in the country's election. Other Venezuelan officials linked to Maduro dismissed the measure, considering them as an attack and politically motivated.
The Northern American empire thinks the immediate officials, with their ridiculous sanctions, they think they blackmail or scare officers and soldiers of our glorious Bolivarian armed national force. But they will never understand the sanctions are decorations to the soul of the patriots who love our Venezuela and will never give up in front of any extortion or threat.
And Venezuela and Spain are embroiled in a diplomatic spat following comments by Spanish Defense Minister Margarita Robles, who labeled Venezuela's government a dictatorship. In response, Venezuelan Foreign Minister has recalled Spain's ambassador in Caracas for consultations and summoned the Spanish ambassador to appear at the Foreign Ministry. After the meeting with Spain's ambassador, Foreign Minister said in a statement on Friday that Caracas would accept no interference from the Spanish government in its affairs and would take the necessary steps to protect its sovereignty. In a post on the social media, Venezuelan Foreign Minister cited comments by Spanish Defense Minister as the reason behind the move. Three U.S. citizens have been sentenced to death by a military court in the Democratic Republic of Congo for their involvement in a failed coup attempt. The three, Marcel Malanga, Tyler Thompson, and Benjamin Zalman Pollen, were found guilty of conspiracy, terrorism, and other serious charges. Their leader, U.S.-based Congolese politician Christian Malanga, was killed by security forces after armed men briefly took control of an office at the presidential palace in Kinshasa on May 19. Marcel, Christian's son, along with his friend Thompson and business associate Zalman Pollen, were among 50 individuals standing trial. The court has condemned 37 of them to death, including citizens from the US, Britain, Canada, and Belgium. And still to come on DD India Newshour. Israeli army took reporters to exposed tunnel shafts in the Tel Al Sultan area of Rafah. In Argentina, over 300 flights cancelled. And we tell you the weather updates from several parts of the world.
Rahul Gandhi's US trip this week has reignited the debate, making unsavory and sometimes even anti-national remarks on foreign soil.
He just could have used his time more effectively in the United States. That would have garnered some attention or interest. He was not effective with his visit. His comments about the Sikh community, it sounded like a person who didn't certainly have any kind of sensitivity. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. British Prime Minister visited the White House to talk to US President Joe Biden. The two leaders discussed the next steps in supporting Ukraine, centering on whether to allow Western missiles to be used to hit targets in Russia. The Prime Minister described his discussions with Biden as long and productive. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay brings us more.
Met at the White House to discuss how to address the evolving situation in the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the extent of flexibility that can be granted to Kiev regarding the use of Western-supplied arms.
I think if you look at both the Ukrainian situation and the Middle East, it is obvious that in the coming weeks and months there are really important potential developments, whatever timetables are going on in other countries, and that's why I wanted to have this opportunity to talk directly to the President and his invitation here.
The talks took place in the backdrop of Russian President Vladimir Putin's warning to Western nations about severe consequences if Ukraine were to use long-range missiles against Russia.
However, this potential development of the situation may fundamentally change our relationship with the Western camp. If the decision to lift restriction is really taken or will be taken, that will mean that from the moment NATO countries are starting direct war with Russia, in this case, we will have to, as you understand, take the relevant decision with all the consequences for this that the Western aggressors would incur.
The White House called the threats made by Putin incredibly dangerous, but vowed to stand with Ukraine.
And this war can end. This war, the war that we're seeing in Ukraine, the aggression from Russia can end today. Can end today. Russia can move their troops out of Ukraine, and it can end. So that type of rhetoric is incredibly dangerous, but it's not new.
Meanwhile, Russia claimed that its forces have taken control of several settlements in Kursk, Oblast, and the Donetsk region over the past week, while President Volodymyr Zelensky asserted that Ukraine's taking over areas in Russia's border region of Kursk achieved its intended results by slowing Moscow's advance in eastern Ukraine.
Regarding the Kursk directions, the Russians have begun their fast offensive actions. They want to use close to 60 to 70,000 people. As we know, close to 40,000 are already there. They wanted to have fast breakthroughs to, as they say, deoccupy the territory. It is pleasant that not only we speak about deoccupying the territories, but also they are speaking about. Nevertheless, I would like to say that they are doing it. So far, we have seen no serious success by them.
Despite numerous dialogues and meetings by various world leaders, the Russia-Ukraine conflict shows no signs of ending and both nations continue to engage in fighting. With Bureau Inputs, Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
The Israeli army took reporters to exposed tunnel shafts in the Tel al-Sultan area of Rafah on Friday that they say were uncovered by Israeli troops in southern Gaza. The tour included a stop at an entrance to an underground chamber where the Israeli military says the bodies of 6 Israeli hostages killed by Hamas were recovered on September 1st. The military did not allow reporters into the tunnels, citing security reasons.
There is a complete maze of tunnels here in Tel al-Sultan. You just heard the shootings. We're still looking and searching for terrorists in this area, and we are gathering all the DNA and the forensic to find and hunt those terrorists who committed this horrific crime.
Israeli army also released a footage showing strikes over Hezbollah military structures in Kfar Remen in southern Lebanon. The video also showed the destruction of a launcher from which projectiles were fired towards the upper Galilee area. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres attended annual Peace Bell ceremony at the United Nations headquarters in New York to ring the peace bell. Guterres urged everyone around the world to cultivate a culture of peace amid geopolitical divisions. Speaking at the ceremony, UN Chief Guterres warned that peace was under threat, pointing to ongoing conflicts around the world. The UN chief rings the bell every year ahead of the International Day of Peace, which is observed on 21st of September.
Peace is under threat. Please join me in a moment of silence. We must cultivate a culture of peace. That is the call we make today. May it ring out around the world.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met with top Russian security official Sergei Shoigu and discussed deepening strategic dialogue between the two countries. Kim held a bilateral meeting with Shoigu and discussed wide range of views on regional and international situations. They also agreed on cooperation to defend mutual safety interests. Vietnam General Secretary and State President To Lam welcomed the Indonesia's President-elect Prabowo Subianto to Hanoi, Vietnam. The Indonesian leader is on a 2-day working visit to the country. During the meet, both leaders expressed their respect for the strong Vietnam-Indonesia strategic partnership. President praised Indonesia's achievements, highlighting it as the largest economy in Southeast Asia. Indonesian President-elect Subianto expressed his sympathy for the loss and damage caused by Typhoon Yagi in Vietnam. Germany has agreed to open the doors to 250,000 skilled and semi-skilled Kenyan workers in a new labor migration agreement. This deal addresses Kenya's struggle with job creation for its young professionals and Germany's need for skilled labor. In a joint news conference with Kenyan President after the agreement, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that Germany needs labor from Europe and many other countries around the world to help out economy.
Deutschland braucht Arbeitskräfte.
Germany needs labor from Europe and many other countries around the world to help out here. The fact that we have managed to do this quite well in recent years is the reason why we are here in such a stable economic position. In the last 10 or 20 years alone, more than 6 million additional workers have come to Germany and entered the labor market. Otherwise, we would be in a completely different situation now, a much worse one.
Arbeitsmarkt eingetreten, sonst
Kenyan President William Ruto stated that this agreement provides an opportunity to leverage human capital to support various industries.
Happy with this agreement that gives us an opportunity to use our human capital talent to support your industries. We would be happier if Parliament can allow some of the industries to come to Kenya so that we don't have to export the people. But I think this framework gives us an opportunity to avoid illegal migrants, because illegal migrants pose a problem both to us and to Germany. That's why this framework gives us a good way forward.
Extreme weather has wreaked havoc around the world. The mayhem of Typhoon Yagi continues as death toll in Vietnam surpassed the 250 mark, and over 820 were reported to be injured as of Friday. Meanwhile, torrential rains have also raised the flood warnings in various European regions. Here's a report.
Extreme weather conditions have been slamming all parts of the world recently. The mayhem of Typhoon Yagi continued as death toll in Vietnam surpassed 250 mark. Over 820 people have been injured. The rising water levels in Mekong River has also raised flood warning in Laos's capital, Vientiane. The authorities have said that continuous rain is expected until September 16. Severe flooding has hit Myanmar after Typhoon Yagi, with more than 230,000 people forced to flee their homes. The country's ruling junta has requested foreign aid to mitigate the impact. Scientific consensus state that the likelihood of very strong tropical cyclones like Typhoon Yagi are increasing due to climate change.
Yagi and the intense precipitation totals, they do fall in a pattern, and which is that typhoons and tropical cyclones in general are getting wetter, so they bring more rain when they make landfall.
Torrential rains in the European countries have triggered massive flooding in various regions. Heavy rains in Central Europe caused a river in Slovenia to swell and flood on Thursday. Prague is putting up flood defenses after Czech forecasters expanded a warning for extreme rainfall to areas of the country. Water management authorities have also started to empty reservoirs on the Vlatva Dam cascade upstream, as well as on the rivers, to make room to the expanded floodwaters.
We have strongly advised cities to cancel public events on Friday and Saturday. We also advise against excessive movement outside, certainly not in parks or forests where there is an immediate risk.
Furthermore, Austria is also bracing up for flooding problems on border with Germany after heavy rainfall predictions over the weekend. Residents in North Mexico struggled as the tropical storm Ileana flooded the roads. The storm made its landfall on Friday. The Mexican National Meteorological Service informed intense rains are forecast for Saturday, as the storm is expected to weaken as it moves north along the peninsula. Nikita's report for DD India.
And let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. In Argentina, over 300 flights has been cancelled, impacting more than 37,000 passengers amid 24-hour strike by aeronautical workers over salary disputes with the government. The unions are demanding better pay rises to adjust to the 264% annual inflation rate in the country. Bolivian authorities seized 11,000 illegally transported turtle eggs from a 23-year-old woman in northern Bolivia. The woman has been detained by forestry police in charges related to the illegal possession and transportation of wildlife. A new immersive installation inspired by Barbie's dream house and the desert landscape of Greater Palm Springs, California is on display as part of this year's London Design Festival. 3 pavilions in central London feature scenes inside the famed Mattel doll's home seen through small windows, as well as mini garden space with the cacti to be explored. Still to come on the India Newshour. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar discusses trade, global and regional issues with Swiss counterpart. Kalvari Submarine Escape Training Facility, Vinatra, commissioned on Friday. We show you how Hindi Divas is being celebrated with great fervor. On Voice of Global South this week, after the coronavirus, a new deadly virus is detected in China. Are we on the cusp of a new pandemic? A 4-day work week is catching on. Are you ready for it? And Mexico becomes the first country in the world to allow election of judges at all levels. Tune in at 7 p.m. on Saturday, 14th of September. You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Well, a quick recap of the headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses election rally in Jammu and Kashmir's Doda, gets rousing welcome and promises to build a safe and prosperous Jammu and Kashmir. In a major decision amidst Russia-Ukraine conflict, US-UK put off suggestions to use long-range missiles by Ukraine, keeps it open for talks with allies. Stranded NASA astronauts Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore say they feel grateful for their extended stay in space despite difficulties, ask for ballots to vote for November 5 presidential elections. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has concluded his Geneva visit, and during a 2-day visit on 12th and 13th of September, India's minister met leadership of international organizations. He shared countries' approach to multilateralism and its perspectives on the evolution of human rights. They discussed ways to deepen cooperation in public health and promote traditional medicine systems globally. India's minister delivered a talk on global tectonics, the Indian view of world in churn at Geneva Center for Security Policy. The event was attended by a cross-section of people from the diplomatic community, academia, think tanks, student community and the Indian diaspora. Well, in a special gesture, Swiss Foreign Minister Ignazio Cassis hosted External Affairs Minister in Geneva. The two leaders held wide-ranging discussions on bilateral ties focused on leveraging the trade agreement between India and four-nation European bloc EFTA, which includes Switzerland. The leaders also discussed global and regional issues of mutual interest. In Geneva, India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar revealed that 75% of disengagement problems at the border with China have been sorted out, but talks are still going on. In a conversation with Ambassador Jean-David Levitt, the Geneva Center for Security Policy on Thursday, the minister explained the complex relations between the two largest neighbors of the world, saying that violence at the border is a major impediment in development of overall bilateral relations.
Negotiations are going on. We made some progress. I would say roughly, you can say about 75% of the disengagement problems are sorted out. We still have some things to do. But there's a bigger issue that, if both of us have brought forces close up, and in that sense, there's the level of militarization of the border has increased. How does one deal with it? I think we have to deal with it. But in the meanwhile, after the clash, it has affected actually the entirety of the relationship, because you can't have violence on the border and then say the rest of the relationship is insulated from it.
3 terrorists were killed on Saturday morning in an overnight encounter with security forces in India's Jammu and Kashmir's Baramulla district. The terrorists were killed in a gunfight that started Friday night after a joint team of security forces cordoned off the Chakitapur village in North Kashmir's Kreri area.
सुरक्षा बलों को जनरल एरिया टापर में टेररिस्ट मूवमेंट की इतला थी, तो इसी असना में यहाँ इस इलाके का एक हिसार किया गया था, जिसमें सुरक्षा बल जो हैं जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस, आर्मी, एसएसबी और सीआरपी की जो टुकड़ियाँ हैं वो अपने टारगेट लोकेशन की तरफ बढ़ रही थी, तो तभी अंदर से गोलाबारी शदीद तौर पे ऑब्जर्व की गई और उसके बाद इस इनकाउंटर की शुरुआत हो गई। तो अभी यहाँ पे ऑपरेशन जो है कंटिन्यूइंग है, कुछ बॉडीज़ ऑब्जर्व हो रही हैं, बट ज़्यादा तफसीलात मैं अभी इस समय पे मुनासिब नहीं समझूंगा कि शेयर की जाए। जैसे ही ये ऑपरेशन मुकम्मल हो जाएगा आपसे बाकी तफसीलात शेयर की जाएंगी।
And the Indian Navy has enhanced submarine safety with the commissioning of Vinetra, the Kalvari submarine escape training facility. The facility was inaugurated by Vice Admiral Rajesh Pendharkar at INS Satwahan in Visakhapatnam on Friday. Vinetra, indigenously designed to improve escape capabilities for Kalvari class submarine crews, reflects India's commitment to self-reliance under the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. This state-of-the-art facility will be utilized for imparting both basic and refresher escape training to the crew of Kalvari class submarines. India's Minister of Minority Affairs Kiran Rijiju attended the conclave on the Buddha's Middle Path Guide for Global Leadership in Mumbai. The event was jointly organized by India's Ministry of Minority Affairs and the International Buddhist Confederation. The theme of the event was based on the timeless wisdom of Buddha's teachings, offering a beacon of hope and guidance for global harmony. In his address, Minister Kiran Rijiju highlighted the teachings of Buddha and also mentioned that under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, Buddha's teachings are gaining global recognition. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has greeted the citizens on the occasion of Hindi Divas today. In a social media post on X, the Prime Minister congratulated all the citizens on the occasion. India's Home Minister Amidst Russia launched the Diamond Jubilee celebrations of the commemoration of Hindi as official language on this day 75 years ago. On this occasion, the 4th Akhil Bharatiya Raj Bhasha Sammelan is being held in New Delhi. Home Minister Shah also launched the Diamond Jubilee special issue of Raj Bhasha Bharati magazine. The minister also launched a commemorative postage stamp and coin to make the Diamond Jubilee memorable.
मोदी जी ने नई शिक्षा नीति में प्राथमिक शिक्षा पर बल देने का काम किया है और प्राथमिक शिक्षा अपनी भाषा में बच्चे की मातृभाषा में हो, ये बहुत जरूरी समझा गया है। मोदी जी ने दुनिया के बड़े से बड़े मंच पर विश्वास के साथ और गौरव के साथ पूरी दुनिया को हिंदी में संबोधित कर हिंदी की स्वीकार्यता को बढ़ाने का काम।
Today, the nation proudly celebrates Hindi Divas, a day dedicated to honoring and promoting the Hindi language. While this occasion is observed with fervor in India, its impact is being felt across the globe as the day marks 75th year of its adoption as an official language of the country within 2 years of independence by the Constituent Assembly.
The significance of Hindi has transcended borders with recent events during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Moscow, Ukraine, Austria and Poland, highlighting the growing global embrace of the language. From international citizens speaking in Hindi to performing dance routines on Hindi songs, the spirit of Hindi is truly international. As India celebrates Hindi Divas, the influence of the Hindi language is reaching beyond the country's borders. During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent visits to Ukraine, Austria and Poland, foreign citizens embraced Hindi in heartwarming displays of cultural exchange. In Ukraine, local citizens not only spoke in Hindi but also sang popular Hindi songs during the Prime Minister's visit, adding a unique flavor to the event. In Austria, the atmosphere was equally vibrant. And in Poland, a similar spirit was evident, with Hindi songs and speeches bringing together communities to honor the cultural ties between the two nations.
हम बहुत चाहते हैं कि सांस्कृतिक संबंध, राजनीतिक संबंध दृढ़ होते जाए और हमारे देशों के बीच मैत्रीपूर्ण संबंध बढ़ते जाए।
मुझे बहुत आशा है कि इस मुलाकात के बाद लोगों को ज़्यादातर लोगों को ये पता हो जाएगा कि वास्तव में यूक्रेन और भारत के बीच अच्छा रिश्ता बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। मुझे हिंदी बहुत पसंद है क्योंकि भारत एक दिलचस्प और बहुत सुंदर देश है। वंदे मातरम सुजलाम सुफलाम मालया शीतलाम।
As Hindi Divas shines a light on the importance of India's official language, the growing international participation in cultural events, especially during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's foreign visits, signals that Hindi is becoming a language of global goodwill. Whether through songs, speeches or performances, the love for Hindi continues to build bridges between cultures and nations. Kriti Vadhera's report for DD India.
Indian Embassy in the Netherlands also celebrated Hindi Divas 2024 with great fervour. A Hindi music competition was organised, demonstrating the interest of the participants towards Hindi language. Whereas French Embassy in India also celebrated Hindi Divas, as the new French spokesperson said, he looks forward to discovering the incredible India and connecting with the country to strengthen relations. Extending their Hindi Divas greetings, Israeli Embassy in India celebrated the day in a unique way using Hindi memes. To celebrate the 10th anniversary of launch of Swachh Bharat mission, Department of Justice is launching a campaign of Swachhata Hi Seva from 17th of September 2024 to 2nd of October. The theme of this campaign seeks to reignite the spirit of collective action and citizen participation in cleanliness efforts across India, underpinned by three key pillars emphasizing a whole of society approach, engaging citizens in cleanliness efforts through various participatory activities, honoring the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi, and make Swachhata a way of life. Let's take a look at other stories making news. Tributes were paid to veteran left leader and former Rajya Sabha MP and CPIM General Secretary late Sitaram Yechury at the party headquarters in New Delhi on Saturday. Yechury passed away on September 12 at AIIMS Hospital after suffering from a respiratory tract infection. Junior doctors continued their protest in India's West Bengal amid rains, demanding justice for the trainee doctor who was allegedly raped and murdered. The West Bengal Junior Doctors Front has written a 4-page letter requesting the intervention of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Draupadi Murmu, seeking justice. India's Defence Research and Development Organization successfully conducted the first phase of field firing trials of Indian light tank Zorawar. The trials were conducted on Friday. During the field trials conducted in the desert terrain, the light tank demonstrated exceptional performance, efficiently meeting all the intended objectives. And still to come on DD India Newshour. And in sports, India and Sweden are all set to lock horns in the World Cup match in Group 1 match, in fact in Davis Cup 2024. Neeraj Chopra will be aiming to secure a big win on Saturday in Brussels for the Diamond League final.
that it is our own unsustainable human activity that is the biggest threat for our planet. So what can we as individuals do to save and preserve our ecosystems?
We provide a bridge between nature and our urban environment.
So when we started rescuing an animal on field, or you're bringing the animal into the rescue center where it undergoes rehabilitation and then is reintroduced back to the wild.
It's very important that they understand the journey they're about to take on, which is tree planting. So this particular pencil, for it has seeds inside, and they're using it to study, but at the end of the day it's going to translate into a tree. A tree was cut and a tree is going to be planted.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Ganesh Chaturthi, the grand Indian festival dedicated to Lord Ganesh, gets celebrated with great joy in Mumbai. Devotees came together to offer prayers, participate in various cultural events that mark the occasion. Devotees install idol of Lord Ganesh in their homes and public pandals to honor the deity. The festival fosters a sense of community, joy and spiritual reverence across the country. The harvest festival from the state of Kerala, Onam, is being celebrated across the UAE. Today is Uttradam, the first day of celebrations, with the Malayalis preparing for the main event, Thiruvonam, tomorrow. With a large Keralite community here, Onam has become one of the UAE's most eagerly awaited cultural events, showcasing the country's rich multiculturalism. The United Nations declared the 16th of September as the International Day for Preservation of the Ozone Layer. This year's theme is Montreal Protocol, Advancing Climate Action. World Ozone Day provides an opportunity to celebrate and rally support for national compliance efforts among key stakeholders. So, what is the current state of the ozone layer? Anil Thomas has the details.
World Ozone Day is celebrated on the 16th of September each year to commemorate the signing of the Montreal Protocol. This is an international environmental treaty for phasing out production and consumption of ozone-depleting substances that came into force in 1987. World Ozone Day is celebrated every year to spread awareness among people about the depletion of the ozone layer and the measures taken to preserve it.
India has done extremely well in terms of our commitment under the Montreal Protocol, and the phase out of HCFCs, phase down of HFCs. So whatever the commitments we had made, we have already achieved them much in advance, and that is because of a very collaborative approach of the government along with stakeholders.
India has been proactive in the Montreal Protocol implementation. UNDP highlighted achievements of the country and the new initiatives being taken for the phase down of hydrofluorocarbons, that's HFCs. The 2023 ozone hole has been larger compared to 2022, but there has been significant progress in the current year.
India, I'm pleased to say, has been at the forefront of implementing the Montreal Protocol. It has exceeded its initial goal of reducing hydrofluorocarbons by 60% by 2023 and has achieved 63% reduction.
To create awareness among the students to protect the ozone layer, competition in the categories of poster and slogan writing were organized for school children across the country.
For the ozone layer, I think new R&D is happening. We just heard about the new gases that we need to use for refrigeration. And I think the better part is that it's not only the R&D, but it's also the safety of those gases, how it's evolved over a period of time. We've tested them in industry, that those are gases, how they will be actually changed in the ACs, etc. And post that, those qualifications have come in, which are training people, and they're available with you.
There were also release of publications and awareness materials. World Ozone Day reminds us that not only is ozone crucial for life on Earth, but that we must continue to protect the ozone layer for future generations. Anil Thomas, DD India, New Delhi.
On to sports updates now. Captain Harmanpreet Singh led from the front as the Indian men's hockey team enters semi-finals after beating Pakistan 2-1 in their final group game of Asian Champions Trophy 2024 in China. The win saw India maintain their unbeaten run this tournament. Ahmed Nadeem had put Pakistan into lead in 8th minute. However, Captain Harmanpreet Singh turned the game on its head with 2 penalty corner goals in the first half. After then, the score remained 2-1 as both sides battled hard in the remaining 2 quarters. India tried to find another goal to settle proceedings while Pakistan fought for an equalizer but failed to find one. India will next take on either China or Malaysia in the semi-finals on Monday. All right, DD India correspondent Narayan Singh is joining us live for more on this story. Hi Narayan. This is the highlight of the day for any sports fan in India. India beating arch rivals Pakistan, that too 2-1. Harmanpreet Singh scoring those 2 brilliant goals. How do you analyze this match?
Definitely, we can say that the way Pakistan started, they scored the opening goal and it was at the 8th minute and it was like a shock for the Indian team. But soon India bounced back and the first goal from the Pakistan was like an eye-opener for the India when an unmarked Nadeem scored the goal for Pakistan. But after that, India capitalized the fragilities, the defensive, we can say, inexperience of the Pakistani team. And we can say that after that, we know that Harmanpreet Singh comes very strong from the right flank and the Pakistan team didn't cover that area. And because of that, he converted 2 penalty corners and it was, we can say, the fantastic performance by the Indian hockey team. And the last time Pakistan defeated India was back in 2016 and the wait of 8 years continues for the Pakistan team, and in that span India conceded only 3 goals against Pakistan and this was the 4th. And last time when India was up against Pakistan, that was in the Asian Games, India thrashed Pakistan by a margin of the 10-2 goals. So in that sense, we can say that it was a spirited performance from the Pakistan side also, and the kudos to their coach, the way he just turned around Pakistan campaign in this tournament. And last time around we saw that when they were facing India, there was a huge margin of the goal difference, but this time the goal difference was only of 2-1. So kudos to their Tahir Zaman, the coach of the Pakistani hockey team, who was, we can say, that the last batch of the Pakistan's golden generation of the hockey, who also won the bronze medal for the Pakistan in the 1992 Barcelona Games, and also captained the Pakistan hockey team who won the 1994 World Cup gold. So all in all, a fantastic performance, and India and Pakistan both are there in the semi-finals, and in all likelihood India will face the 4th place team. It may be Malaysia or the China, considering the fact that the last group match between the China and the Japan is underway, and Japan is already out of the tournament. So let's see who will play India in the semis.
All right, Narayan, thanks for your analysis. India's Neeraj Chopra will be aiming to secure a big win on Saturday in Brussels for the Diamond League final. Neeraj will be aiming to continue his fine run in the Diamond League finals as he won the event in 2022 and finished 2nd last year. He finished 4th in the overall javelin standings for the 2024 season after accumulating 14 points across 2 events. The 26-year-old Chopra secured 2nd place in both the Doha leg in May and the Lausanne event in June. The Lausanne Diamond League saw Neeraj pull a rabbit out of the hat with a stunning throw of 89.49 meter to finish in the 2nd spot. And in tennis, India and Sweden are all set to lock horns in just a while from now at the World Group 1 match in Davis Cup 2024. The Indian team are relying on Sriram Balaji and Ramkumar Ramanathan for the first day after they put India in the driver's seat on the way to the 4-0 victory against Pakistan. Meanwhile, India's number 1 Sumit Nagal and number 3 Sasi Kumar Mukund are missing from the Indian squad in Stockholm. India and Sweden have met 5 times in the Davis Cup and Swedes have won all 5 of them. The last Davis Cup between the 2 teams was played in 2005 in New Delhi, which Sweden later won 3-1. Olympic athlete Rebecca Cheptegee's funeral began on Saturday in her hometown of Bukavu in Uganda. Soldiers from Uganda's People's Defense Forces carried her out carried out her funeral services, and Rebecca had recently participated in Olympics for the first time, marking a significant milestone in her career. A soldier held a gold-plated plaque with Rebecca Cheptegei's name and date of birth, while another marched with framed photo of her. Cheptegei tragically passed away after her former boyfriend allegedly doused her with petrol and set her alight. That's all for this edition of DD India Newshour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Newshour.